Hi everyone, it's Yvette Le Blowitz from Spaitgirl.com and welcome to the Spaitgirl Talk Show podcast. Super excited to be here with you today in this online audio space with our very special guest, Shannah Kennedy, who is an executive life coach and strategist, international speaker, best-selling author of The Life Plan, Chaos to Calm and Shine. She is a master planner, and I'm super excited to be here with her today to share more about how you too can work on your own life plan too. So thank you, Shannah, for joining me and the rest of the Spaitgirl podcast show audience. How are you?
I'm really good. Thanks for having me on the show. It's a real privilege to be able to share, information that really works for people.
Yeah, well, talking about that, for everyone who's tuning in globally, are you able to share a little bit about who you are and your story and how your own life plan came to fruition that we see today?
Yeah, it's really fascinating. It's not one that you would have scripted, that's for sure. My story started, I started in stockbroking. It really was a bit like the Wolf of Wall Street back then. So I was like, this is so no place for a girl to be. So I actually worked my way from, the filing department to be one of the first girls to ever sit on the trading desk. And that was, over 20 years ago. I'm showing my age here now.
Yeah.
Actually, it was over 30 years ago, 30 years ago. So,
Wow.
50. So it was a really interesting time. And I decided, no, this is not for me. And I got into sports marketing and sponsorship and managing elite athletes and then turning into a sponsor, working for a global company. And I had 200 athletes that I was really close to, elite athletes, Olympians, and people that represented Australia. And I really got an incredible insight into their lives and what it took to really operate at that level. And over that time, I was the A-type, overachieving perfectionist workaholic. Love it. Married the job. Totally love burning the candle at every end possible. And at the end, after 7 years of working so hard, I developed chronic fatigue and depression, and it really stole my health. And it took me years to recover. And it's something that I have to still deal with today, 20 years later. So it was really a pivot for me that I didn't plan, and all my plans that I had went out the window because no longer was my body going to do what all these crazy plans that my brain had. And I was thinking about the athletes and thinking, well, what happens to them? I saw when they got dropped from a team, or they got retrenched, or they got injured. They had no plan B. They didn't have a life plan. They had a career plan, but they didn't have a life plan. So my question to you and to all of the listeners out there is, who are you without your job? We are a whole person that needs to be developed and cherished and nurtured. Our job is what we do, and many of us get very attached to our title, and our title makes us, have that confidence. When the title's taken away, or you've lost your job, or at the moment people are losing their businesses and financially taking a really big hit, this is the gift for you to start working on yourself and building the brand of you and understanding you and building yourself a really great life plan. So while I was down in the darkness and in the horrible state of unable to move your body, incredible pain and depression, totally paralyzed basically, I started to work with a life coach over 20 years ago, and no one had heard of one. I hadn't heard of one, but I thought, I don't really need a psychologist. It's actually my body's broken, so I'm getting depressed because I can't do anything. And I worked with a coach, and we very quickly established I needed to build myself as a person and respect the asset.
Wow.
So you are the asset. For every listener out there, you're the asset. What are you doing to protect it, nurture it, nourish it, grow it, and really look after that asset? And most people don't see themselves as the asset. So when we do see ourselves that way, we can start building a really great plan. So I decided to study life coaching 20 years ago, and everyone thought I was a complete lunatic. They were like, why would you leave your Jerry Maguire job to be a life coach? Like, that's crazy. And I was like, I want to coach the athletes into retirement, because I saw the destruction of when we get retrenched, and turning it into the corporate world as well. When we get retrenched, lose our job, get injured, a life crisis, a divorce, our job folds for some reason, or our business goes broke. The pivot point is, we have a lot of different options. Some people start taking substances. I saw a lot of suicide. I saw a lot of gambling. I saw a lot of total destruction. And I thought, wow, nobody has a plan B. Nobody has a life plan. That everything was really focused on their career. So I studied coaching and started my business 20 years ago to coach people into retirement, coach people, when they had that crisis point, and then people started really accepting life coaching and seeing how valuable it was. And then people were like, actually, I want to work with you on my life strategy. So that's when I wrote my book, The Life Plan, which, is a global bestseller. And it's really about how do you build yourself as a person so you have calm confidence in life, so that you have clarity, you have purpose, you have direction. And it doesn't matter what job we do or what the outside circumstances are, we feel really grounded within ourselves to be able to cope and handle the curveballs that are going to come and hit us.
Wow,
So,
this is amazing. Your story is so amazing.
That's sort of in a nutshell. And I got married, and I've got 2 kids now. One's 14, one's 16. And I keep myself really fit. And I really have to have a strategy to manage protecting the asset, which is myself. Because if I don't have a strategy, the chronic fatigue, the depression, it's right there sitting on my shoulder. And if I do not look after the asset, that's actually what rears its ugly head.
Wow. This story is so inspirational about how you went from the dark and then rebuilt your life in such a way to then help other people also. And I must admit, like, there's so many people out there now who their identity is attached to their career or their job or their business. And I can resonate with your story as well, because having been once a young Aussie farmer, you totally identify that's all you are, all you know. And when that's gone, you think that's it, nothing more. And what I had to learn too is when you burn out, you must never do that ever again. You have to look after you. Never. Burnout is not good. Burnout isn't good. And I
will do anything to never, ever, ever, ever get myself into that state again. And at the moment, watching people go through that self-destruction, it will come at a big price. We actually need to care for ourselves now and nurture ourselves through the storm, rather than, reacting in a way that's really destructive.
Yeah. So for someone who has lost their job or facing pretty much everything coming to an end, they're not sure whether they'll get that job back or not, I tend to say to them, it's okay. In my opinion, the money will come, the money will go. However we get it, or whatever job title it is, that's always going to be different. Because I've been a cleaner, a farmer, an account manager, a blogger, whatever, author. It happens very differently. But I have had to learn too that I am not my job title, or not my job, or not even my business. Like, I'm my breath, my character, my personality, my heart, my soul. But for someone struggling because it's their first time their job being made redundant, or being told we no longer have any more work for you, what is something they could do to help with developing their life plan or discovering who they truly are?
Well, there's a few really wonderful steps that I call it the start step of how do you just get off the block. And there's a few things. And one is every morning asking yourself the same question, which is, what is the most important thing to me in the world today? So a lot of people go, I think it's my health, or it's my family, or whatever it might be. It's my dog, Okay, well, let's really establish what's the most important thing on your list. Second question is, what is the gift I've been given today? So we don't have to go to work if we've lost our job. Okay, I've got my time back. It's the opportunity for me to actually go and learn something, to upskill myself, to connect with myself, to learn something about myself, and come back in. So I think it's really important to start with some power questions. And one of the other things which is really confronting is mirror work, which is, when you see a 3-year-old look in the mirror, how they stand this close and they love the mirror. They're like, they kiss the mirror, they dance in front of the mirror.
Yes.
And it's really about, when did you actually last acknowledge yourself? When did you last be kind to your best friend, which is yourself, looking back at you in the mirror? Every time we're washing our hands, which is 20 times a day, how often are we washing our hands and looking up and just checking in with that person in the mirror going, you've got this. You've got this. It's a tough time, but we've got this, and I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be kind to myself today. I'm not going to be harsh on myself today, because it will pass. This is not forever. In 3 years' time, you're going to look back and go, oh, that was a rough 6 months. But it's not forever. So, that self-connection of powerful questions, looking in the mirror, and the third part of starting really off the blocks is going back to establishing what are your values. And most people know the values of the company that they work for.
Yes.
The bank is this, and their accounting firm is that, or whatever it is. The values of the spa is this. But what are your own set of personal values that are really, important to you? And it's going into your home plate. So your values are your decision-making tool for the rest of your life. And most people are making decisions without consulting the base plate. So spending some time and really thinking about, what are my values? And in the book, there's the values game, and it's identifying your top 3. So for example, my first one is my health, obviously, because I've lost my health. So it's mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. What am I doing every single day? Because that's my job, is to work for my values, to support my mental health, my physical health, my emotional health, my spiritual health. So that's who I work for. And the second value is family happiness. And that doesn't mean, is my family happy? Because I've got a CEO husband, I've got 2 teenagers. Well, but I can't make them happy. It's up to them and their hormones at the moment. So what it means is, am I showing up being the best version of myself? Am I being a fun and inspiring wife? Am I being a warm and nurturing mum? Am I being a kind friend? Wow. Am I being a great coach? What am I doing to allow me to be that person? Do I need a coach? I've got a coach for myself. I employ a coach to coach me to make sure I can be that best person. And then the third one for me is achievement, because you might gather I'm an achievement junkie.
Well, after all of your books and your motivational guest speaking tours that you do, yes.
I thrive on achievement. So I love setting a goal, writing lists, ticking it off, smashing it. There's no boundary. And for me, that's the most destructive way to live. But that's my natural self, A-type, overachieving, perfectionist, crazy person. And what I've had to learn over the last 20 years is, how do I make my to-do list a much healthier version? So my to-do list now, so that I have longevity and don't get sick and don't get burnt out, and I can be that person and look after my health and show up being a good version of myself, is on the to-do list has to be, you got to walk, you got to do your yoga, you got to do your breathing, you got to do your gratitude, you got to do your journaling, because without those things, you are not the best version of yourself.
And that's what
you value.
I love this. I love
this. So if that's what you value, then what are the actions that will help you be that person? So while people may be suffering at the moment, it is a really great time to say, okay, my plans have all gone out the window. My job's out the window. My business is out the window. If I had to start from scratch now, start from the ground up and start with building the person, because you're the asset. And whatever you take yourself to in the next career or next job or next business, or fire it back up again as soon as we're allowed to, you're going to be a calmer and more confident person.
Yeah, I love this. Is so amazing. I love that. Working from the base, the values, and also making sure that you're looking after your asset. I've heard a lot of women talk to me about they struggle looking at themselves in the mirror because they don't like what they see. And I always tell them, you've got to keep going back. You've got to keep trying. You've got to look at yourself in the eyes. You've got to acknowledge yourself. You've got to be kinder and more loving. And some of them are saying they just have to look away. I mean, I once was like that, but I felt that the only way I could overcome it was by doing it.
Yes, and it's
showing up more and practicing and doing.
It's a very confronting practice, but it shows where you're at in life also, because if you can't look in the mirror and you have to walk away, it means you don't love who you are. And that's an issue. And that's what you want to be working on. That's your gift is, I can see that when I go to the mirror and I look into my eyes and into my soul, that I'm not being kind. So if I'm not being kind to myself, how can anyone else be kind to me, genuinely love me, if I don't love myself? And Louise Hay, if you Google Louise Hay mirror work,
I love Louise Hay.
There's a lot of information about how to approach the mirror, etc. But I just see it as if you could see yourself as your best friend, and you look up in the mirror and you're looking back at yourself, treat the person in the mirror like they're your best friend. How would you talk to your best friend? Every time you wash your hands, you could look up and check in with your friend and go, how's your morning been? You've got this. Okay, that was a bit confronting, but that's okay. Or that was really great. That was a win. I got a call. Or I feel a bit down today. Feel a bit down. Feel a bit anxious. Feel a bit overwhelmed. What would you say to a child that had those feelings?
Yes, exactly. It's going to be okay.
You would pat the child. You go, that's okay. It's going to be okay. Let's do some breathing. Let's have a cup of tea. Let's just take a breath, because this too shall pass, because we know our feelings flow in and they flow out. So if we get stuck on one, don't hold on too long. Let it flow out again, because an hour later you'll be experiencing joy,
Yes,
yes. So it's about going to the mirror and doing that kindness about, okay, you're feeling down. That's okay. We're allowed to feel down. Half the world is feeling down. You're not in it alone. It's okay. If you were feeling happy all the time, there's possibly something not right,
Yeah.
Let's be okay with that. And let's think about, what could I do to cheer myself? Like you would ask a child, what will I do to cheer myself now? Okay, I'm going to go make a cup of tea. I'm going to have a bath. I'm going to go for a walk around the block, because every time I go for a walk, I change my state. So every time I feel like that, I'm going to do that. And then I go back and I wash my hands again. I look in the mirror and go, I feel better now. Talk to that person a little bit with kindness, rather than that mean, berating that person.
And avoidance doesn't fix. Avoidance isn't going to connect you. You're going to be disconnected if you're avoiding your own self, aren't you? Like if you're not connecting with your own soul through your eyes and being kind and loving and nurturing yourself.
So every time we touch the phone, they always sort of say, the experts, that, every time you pick up your phone and you touch it, it means you don't want to hear the thought that's inside you. It's like, quick, distract ourselves. Whereas if you could just sit in yourself for a minute, you would feel so much better.
Yeah. So when it comes to your self-care rituals, you mentioned you do a lot of yoga, which I love, meditation. I'm obsessed with that. I love it. I always feel that it just makes me feel so good and calm and at peace and just really grounded. Like, you obviously make a choice every day to show up and take care of yourself, because you're so busy all the time traveling a lot, speaking a lot, and you speak to a lot of people. And I even know when my book came out, It Starts With Me, and I started the guest speaking sort of roadshow type things, that speaking to so many people can be very exhausting after a while if you're not taking care of yourself and not getting enough sleep and not doing self-care rituals. So for you, like, now you would say definitely for the life plan, look at our self-care rituals and how we can better look after ourselves daily. Is it okay, do you think, do you ever have days where you just feel exhausted, like maybe not to go for a walk, but then you might change that and do some meditation or yoga or journaling, like, so you tune into how your body and how you're feeling, and then adapt the life plan and your self-care rituals to tune in with what you need?
I think every one of us is unique, so we all have a different recipe. So, someone might have a vegan diet, but that wouldn't suit me. It would actually take my energy away instead of give me energy. So we need to be really careful, and we need to curate a recipe and a ritual and a routine that actually works for you, which might be different for me, So when you are very clear, I just divide it into two, which are called the bookends of the day. How we start the day and how we finish the day. In between, it can be chaotic. And in between, every time I wash my hands, I can check in with myself and breathe. But the way that I start and finish the day keep me grounded and make me feel safe, because the body and the mind loves to anchor in on the things that make us feel safe. So in the morning, what's your AM bookend of the day? So I call them the bookends. The way that we start the day, the way we finish the day. So how we start the day, for me, it's really simple. I have to move my body. If I don't move my body, it actually makes me quite sad for the day. So it'd be very, very rare that I wouldn't move. And I decide the night before, when you get up, you're going to walk, or you're going to go to yoga, or you're going to do gym.
Love it.
Or you're really tired, you're not doing anything, you're going to meditate for half an hour. You're not going to move. So there's only 4 options. I look at the weather and I decide, and how I'm feeling or how much traveling I've done. So I must move. Before I even get out of bed, I have to set my intention for the day and do a little bit of breathing, just to be kind and connect back and be grateful. Move my body, drink half a litre of water every time I get into my shower. I've got this big water bottle and I just drink half a litre. I've got to hydrate.
Fantastic.
And it's really that simple. Then I have my food and supplements. And that's it. It's just, don't change it. It works. 70% of the time do not feel like getting up and moving, because when you have chronic fatigue, you naturally feel exhausted a lot of the time. When you wake up, you don't wake up feeling great. And it's actually the movement that makes me feel good.
Wow.
So
great.
I need to get up and move to feel good. So if I choose not to, and 5 minutes after I'm walking around the block, I actually think that was the best move I ever made, was to get up. But if I left it up to my brain in the morning, it would say no. So it's a non-negotiable, and the clothes are next to the bed. And the way that we finish our day also is really, really important, because it's a ritual that says to the brain, it's time to shut off. So one of the rules in this house is, which you'll freak out about, is there is no technology in the bedrooms.
Love it. Love it. That is amazing. No, I love it.
My teenagers think I'm a complete crazy lady, but there is no technology. There is no phones in the bedroom, because when you go to bed and you're scrolling and checking your media, what's happening to your brain? You're firing up your brain. and then you're trying to go to sleep. And then in the morning, because you use it as your alarm, what is the first thing you touch before you even get out of bed? Your
Yes.
phone. Turn the alarm off. So you've triggered a stress response instantly before you even got up. So we have alarm clocks. And we try to turn all the phones off around 9 p.m. and then just be a family or watch some TV or read or something a bit kind, not shoving more images into the brain that it has to then go and process. So the nighttime routine is pretty important, and it's really simple. We have a pool which is not heated, so I have a cold swim, which is really challenging. I wash my face, I brush my teeth, I write my 3 gratitudes every night in a little book next to my bed. And I do some breathing, my own yoga nidra breathing, and shut down my body, and that's it.
That's so amazing.
It doesn't need to be complicated. I think people say, I have to do this and I have to do that. Pick the things that are really simple, that become like brushing your teeth, where it's not a burden and it's not, oh my God, I have to do this. I might not meditate every day, or I might not do yoga every day, but I have to move or do one of those things. And then the rest of the day is all kinds of different things and variety. But the body knows, I can't wait for my night routine where I brush my teeth, I wash my face, I write my gratitude, I take a nice breath, I put my candle on. Oh my gosh, it's like coming home.
You know, this is so interesting because your morning routine is pretty much exactly like mine, and even the evening. So when I grew up as a kid in Australia, we had a ritual which was 8:30 p.m. It was rude to ring someone else's house, to talk to someone. And if you hadn't had that conversation before dinner or just after dinner, it was a no-go zone. So what happened was, when I started all of this blogging and it became more and more and more and more, I realized I was staying up so late because I was always on this, responding, you know, Facebook, Instagram, then there was Twitter, then there was YouTube, and it was just so much content. Like, it just exploded with so much admin work or blog work or whatever you might call it. But then my mind was so active and awake, and I was talking to people at, 11 o'clock at night, and they're not getting enough sleep. And it really started to affect my health, because I then didn't have any energy to exercise. I felt like crap the next day. So I went back to the old school ritual of the 8:30 mark. And then I don't have my mobile phone either in my bedroom. I discovered if I had it in the separate room, like even my ensuite room, like separate, or even out on the kitchen bench away, I could get a much better sleep. It was like there was no busyness near my head. And I think subconsciously I felt like I'd totally disconnected. And before, when it was near me and I was scrolling, I was always waking up kind of thinking, oh shit, I better check the phone or whatever. And then I realized the hard way that I was waking up every morning as a blogger, looking at, the first thing I did was look at my phone. So I was connecting with everyone else other than myself. So now I make sure I do, similar to what you do, I do a stretch in bed, I focus on my breath, like I connect to myself first and do that work before getting on the phone. Then I make sure I do like some breathing work or some movement and like my self-care to set me up for the day. And then, but it takes a lot of discipline, because even with COVID-19, I found like, oh, hang on a minute. If you don't stick to that routine, it just doesn't take long to fall off the bandwagon again. Like if you get on that, I hate to say it, social media past 9:30 and onwards, it just, and like my mum said, it's true. We never rang anyone after 8:30.
No, never, never. I didn't either. And I think it's really important to just keep asking yourself in the mirror, but how does that make me feel? How does it make me feel when I check that first thing in the morning compared to if I don't check anything until after breakfast? You know, so I don't check things till after breakfast. I never read emails or anything till after breakfast because it's such sacred time. And everybody says, I want more time, I want more space, I want more freedom. You've got it, but you keep cramming it with the world, with your phone. So when you have technology boundaries, where I don't even look at it till after breakfast and I turn it off at 8:30, or you've got the rest of the day, but those times are sacred. You know, you're setting a boundary for yourself to protect yourself.
Yeah, and
Health and well-being.
I know a lot of spa owners have reached out to me, or bloggers, saying because they're at work, particularly bloggers during the day, and then they're working on their hustle after work. You know, they're up till 11:30, 12:30, 1:30 hustling. But I just find, like, if you don't get enough sleep,
well,
all
you
that
need a
hustling,
boundary.
all that hustling goes to nothing because you so need your health. And maybe
you need to think of it as like a boundary, like a beautiful protective like fence around you. And every time you use your energy, so you're staying up or whatever, you're opening the gate and the energy is coming out. So you're the keeper of the gate. Is actually, when do I need to shut it because it's actually becoming toxic, or it's just not even working for me now, and I can't show up being the best version of myself because I haven't protected myself. Like, we can all work 24 hours a day. There's enough things to do for 24 hours a day. We can hustle. We can do as many webinars as we want. We can do all of this stuff, but it all comes at a price. Every time we say yes to the next hour of whatever we're choosing to do in the next hour, it's going to come at a price to your health, your well-being, your energy, your mindset, your emotions. So you're making that choice deliberately. So I think it's about going, okay, I'm going to hustle tonight, but tomorrow night I can't, or whatever it might be. Or I'm going to put a time limit on my hustle, because we can get lost in the hustle.
Yes.
And then 3 hours later, you know, we've really done ourselves a disservice. And my question is, what for? What is the purpose of that? Is it worth that?
Yes.
I'm not sure. What's the outcome that you're going for? Is it worth the destruction of our mental health and well-being and our sleep? And because then people start taking substances because they want to go and fix it. But if we just put some boundaries around ourselves in the beginning, we wouldn't have to go and fix it.
Yes. And I know young children, even if they have an iPad in their room, I hear it all the time, they get on their iPad, they're talking to their friends with Snapchat and everything, and young kids are going to school and they're so tired. They were up till 12:30 at night. And many psychologists I've spoken to, and you'd probably also agree, recommend definitely not having any technology in the room for young children, because they will tell you they're not on it. You'll go to sleep and they'll be on it. So they talk about putting it up and out of sight and away. And
so you see that little cupboard here behind me with that?
Yes.
Do you see that little lock and key where my finger is?
Yes,
that's a cupboard, right? That's got a lock. And so all of the technology goes in there at 9 o'clock at night, and I just lock it. And so there is no thinking. The kids have no option. They are not sitting in bed going, oh, can I sneak out and get my iPad? It's just the decision has been made for all of us, a blanket decision. So the brain instantly just says, oh, it's like saying there's no more alcohol. Oh, okay, well, there's no more alcohol. It's just the decision is made, so it's an easy choice. And then after 10 minutes of everybody freaking out that everything's been locked away, everyone's mood just calms down, and we all connect as a family, and we have some conversations, and we watch a TV show together, or we'll go and read, and it's just nice. It's just nice. It's really nice. But if we didn't have that that little thing there, you know, the little lock and key where it just is not a choice, then, you know, maybe you would want to take the phone to bed, or, you know, you'd want to self-soothe with distraction rather than, you know, soothing with connection, which is going to fix everything.
You know what I love about this is that you're actually doing it with the children, your children, like as a family, you're doing it together. So you're not saying, get off your mobile phone, and then you're sitting on the couch, we're still on your mobile phone, and they're like, well, if Mum's on the mobile phone, why can't I be on the mobile phone? And so I'm seeing that happening a lot with families.
That's really interesting. You know, a lot of conferences that I go to, you know, I'll speak to 500 people, and, you know, I personally coach a lot of people, which I love, coaching individuals and setting them up and developing their plans. But, you know, I say to people in the audience, why do you say it's not okay for your kid to have your phone and sleep with their phone under their pillow, but you want to sleep with yours? What's the difference? Why do you want to protect them but not protect yourself? Why are they more precious than you? So what's the point of saying no to them if you're not going to say no to yourself?
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And, you know, the best memories I've ever had as a kid was that whole 8:30, it's our time, our family time. No one can bother us. No one can annoy us. No one can come to us. It was just like, and we knew routine, 8:30, bedtime, you know, like it was routine. And it was so nice to sit around, you know, as a family and talk and watch our favorite TVs and connect. And it's going to be something I will treasure forever, for the rest of my life, that time. And I'm really glad that I went back to that, and like what you're doing. I have to be very disciplined, because as a blogger or someone online having to update these Instagram pages and podcast pages and whatever, you can easily slip into bad habits, and it requires discipline.
So a lot of people the people that I coach set an alarm on their phone, which might be, I don't know, 10 o'clock at night, for example, and your alarm goes off at 10 p.m. every night.
I've got an alarm. I've set one.
It's time to put me away now. You know, it's like this reminder, like, where's my alarm going off? Oh, it's 10 o'clock. Oh, that's my trigger in the brain that says, protect the asset. You've got to put it away. It's telling you, put me away. So when you set your own alarm as an alarm at nighttime, you know, that's the structure and the support that you're giving yourself.
Yeah. Wow. Now you coach a lot of people. What do you love most about coaching?
I love coaching. I've coached for 20 years and I'm not sick of it, and I want more of it. And I feel like I'm just beginning. It's my calling. I love that within a minute, you know, I can have a rapport with somebody and care about them and say, okay, let's build you as a person. Let's build a plan for the next 20 years. Let's open your brain to the big picture of you. And let's reverse engineer, I'm 50. What is my 70-year-old self telling me to do today?
Wow.
So if I'm working with a 30-year-old, I'm saying, what is your 40-year-old self telling you to do today? Let's have a look at what you want to achieve in your 30s, in your 40s, in your 50s, in your 60s, in your 70s, in your 80s. There is a long journey. And when we can strategize and put it into beautiful blocks, the brain is then going, okay, my 20s is all about, you know, trying, failing, saving, traveling, spending,
partying.
I said partying.
Partying.
Lots of partying, lots of boyfriends, lots of fun.
Yes.
What is my 30s about? You know, because what's happening in my body in my 30s, you know? So maybe my 30s, you know, I want to reach some milestones here and there. My 40s, I want to reach some milestones. 50 for me, I'm going into menopause state. So what does that mean? What does the 50s look like? You know, what does the 60s look like? So I look at 60-year-old role models for me now.
Wow.
And going, what are they doing that's inspiring for me? So for me, why am I doing yoga? It's because when I'm 80, I want to tie my own shoelaces. I want to like who I am. Why am I doing headstands every morning? Because I want my body to be clean and fit, you know, so there's a purpose. Why am I not going to that sale and buying the $2,000 handbag? Because I don't want a mortgage, you know, so there's reasons. And when you work with somebody personally as a coach, we devise a wonderful roadmap that gives you clarity, that gives you purpose, so you know why you're making decisions, and it gives you beautiful direction to follow. And you've got a vision board, and you've got visuals of around you all the time of what you find inspiring, and you connect back with the power of yourself, so that your job becomes, back full circle, is just what you do. It's not who you are. You've done the work on yourself.
Yeah, that's amazing. So finding purpose in everything you do, because so many people now want everything instantly and to happen overnight, because we're living in this instant world. But many, yourself and many people, including myself, believe that even after sort of 2 decades, 20 years of things and beyond, we are still working on either developing our skills, our life, or we're transitioning and adapting and changing.
Yes.
And that something just doesn't happen overnight.
No, things don't happen overnight.
No one pops overnight, even though young kids think they're going to pop and go viral overnight. But in reality, every business or every purpose, it's a lifelong journey, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think it's about not being too attached. I think it's about do things because you love doing them. You know, if you want to be a blogger, it's because you love it. It's not because you don't write a book. I don't write a book to say, I need to earn $1 million and sell 1 million copies. You write a book that you want to read, and you hope that other people want to read it. And, you know, that's sold a couple of 100,000 copies, and it's available in other languages, and that's great. But I didn't write it with that intention.
Yes.
You write because you like writing. It's creative. You want to share your message. And you've got information to share with the world, and you hope that it does really well. But if you become fixated on this end result all the time, you'll be sorely disappointed, because you get thrown curveballs. The GPS moves, the goalposts move, COVID's moved everything.
Yes.
And you can't be adaptable. And being adaptable is the key to success. It's your ability to say, well, my plan A is now in the bin, but I have a secondary plan here, and I know in perspective what my 20s is about, or my 30s is about, or my 40s is about. So I'm okay that this is just a bump in the road.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. A bump in the road and not forever. And I know that when I wrote my book, It Starts With Me, it was self-published through Hay House Division Balboa, but I got the book into the Aussie bookstores through Dennis and Jones Association, who'd been around for 30 years. So here's the thing, I'd manifested, because Louise Hay, actually, when I was 8 years old, is who inspired me to become an author, because I saw her first on the Oprah Winfrey show with my mum. And it was the first time I'd ever seen women sitting on national TV in chairs side by side. Yes, and I remember she had immaculate, beautiful hair, and she spoke so well. And she was with Oprah. Oprah had big hair like this and big puffy shirt on, and, you know, silk shirt. But so I was so little then, and I looked up and I thought, oh, what if I could write a book to help other people? Oh, I could get on the Oprah show, little 8-year-old kid. And I could, you know, I could like travel the world doing this. So it's so funny, but that you just reminded me of something there, the bump in the road, because when I received this notification they'd went into administration, everyone was shocked. There was 1,200 Aussie authors.
I was one of those, because one of my books is Simplify, Structure, Succeed, which I self-published before the Life Plan, and it was with Dennis Jones. Yes.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I manifested getting the book into the Aussie bookstores. I sat there and I thought, what's the message from the universe in this? And it was, the universe has bigger plans for you. Tick, okay, because I'm writing this down. I thought, well, this is going to make good forward for the next book. Okay, what's the next message? Okay, you haven't been told you have a life-threatening illness and that you're terminally ill. Okay, tick. Okay, so it's not life-threatening. It's just a book.
Yes.
This
Yes.
book, you will be able to find another distributor. This is not life-threatening. It's not life-threatening illness. It's a book. So I had to put it into perspective. And then the next thing was, I didn't get clear on manifesting how long I wanted the book in the Aussie bookstores. So I said I want to get it into the Aussie bookstores, but I didn't say for how long. But I did tick that manifestation goal of getting it in. But yeah, but when you said about the bump in the road, I think as any author, as you know, you have to be willing to take a lot of bumps in the road and then continue. And that'd be like anyone in life. In
anything, in our health, there'll be bumps in the road. In our relationship, there'll be bumps in the road. In a financial situation, there'll be bumps in the road. In our career, there's going to be bumps in the road. So if you're grounded in who you are and you can see the big picture, your life plan, your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, if there's a little bump, you're not stuck in the, oh my God, my life is over. You actually have a much broader perspective that, oh, this is a storm. It might last, I don't know, might last 4 months, might last 6 months. This time next year, in April next year, will we be in the same state? Absolutely not. So things will have changed again. Things will be changed in 2 weeks. In 3 months' time, we'll be in a very different situation. So it's about not getting too attached, and it's a bump. And some days we're going to feel okay, and some days we're going to feel really sad, or we're going to feel really down. But it will pass, and we're all in it together. None of us are missing out on any parties or any barbecues or any dinners or anything. We're all in the same boat. So it does make it a bit easier. There are lots of us who feel sad some days. I feel really sad some days. I feel suffocated some days because I've got my husband and kids here. And I'm used to being here all alone, you know.
I've actually heard so many people say this, that this is the first time they've had to all be together, but continually, but how hard it is when you're trying to run a business or do your job.
We need to be really adaptable, because I don't have my usual space and long days to myself. But I always say, what's the gift today? And I start my day, and the gift is I've got my kids home and they're not going to parties, and my 16-year-old's not asking me to drink alcohol, and I don't have to go midnight and pick him up somewhere, and he hasn't got a girlfriend at the moment. It's all fantastic. So I need to actually celebrate that I've been given a pause from all the peer pressure, all the running around. And yes, I've lost all my speaking business, but what have I gained? I'm gaining this amazing time with my son, who's normally gone, and you know, I'm walking every morning with my husband, and, you know, we have our times where we're all sick of each other, and that's fine. But it's a pretty special time that we'll look back on and say, wow, we were a real family unit then, weren't we?
Yeah, I love this, because I even feel like you, that normally I'm traveling and I'm in, you know, going to the Maldives. Like I've done 2 trips to the Maldives already this year, visiting 6 resorts from January, February, March. But I feel so grateful now to be at home and to get this routine down pat where I can do the walking, really just focusing inwards on my health and wellness. And I'm so grateful. Like I nearly feel it truly is a gift, because I too was running, go, doing. And so many people I'd spoken to, mothers, were saying, oh, I wish I had more time. I wish I had more time at home. And I'm
But
thinking,
the other gift that people have who may not have family or might be all by themselves at home and stuck in their brain is, the question is, what were the things that you were doing before that you don't want to bring into the future, that you want to let go of? You know, I was doing that job and I didn't like it, or I had that business and actually didn't really like it. And it's made the decision for me. So because it's made the decision for me, what actually do I want to create now with my beautiful blank piece of paper moving forward? And that's a real gift, is to think about, I was going to those parties and I didn't like it, or I was taking that drug and I didn't like it, or I had that friend and I didn't even like her and now I get a break from her. What do I want to pick up moving forward that I want to take with me, and what do I want to leave behind? I don't want to act like that, be like that, see that person, run that business, have that kind of job. I've actually don't even like that industry. Great. What am I going to study? What am I going to learn?
I
So there's
love
a
this.
really nice time to have a complete mindset shift.
Yeah, I like a reset, looking at your values. What
Yeah.
is it you like? What is it you don't like? I believe that there are times you just have to surrender to what no longer serves your highest purpose. Like, I've spoken to some spa owners who struggled, who were working 7 days a week just to keep the business up and running. And now it's sort of like what's that saying? The straw that broke the
Camel's back. Yeah.
yes. And I kind of feel like sometimes things happen because the universe is sort of redirecting you, like, okay, it's done now, and you've got a new opportunity to start over again and to take
maybe,
care of your health more.
maybe it wasn't working for you. Maybe it wasn't profitable and you were stuck in it. And now you've been given the chance to actually close it, and it hurts and it's emotional and you didn't really want to, and you didn't want to part with it, but you were doing it because you thought you had to. The gift could be that I had the decision made for me, and now I feel relieved. Because I'm now relieved it's closed. Do I even want to reopen it? Maybe not. Maybe I want to do it differently or start it again differently. I don't need to start it back up exactly how I was running that spa. Yes. I could run my spa differently because parts of it were not good, or parts of it were not profitable, or parts of it I didn't enjoy. So I have this chance now to restructure what the new look and feel would be, or what the new offering might be that might be better for me.
That's right. I love those words of wisdom, because some have expressed, like, okay, if I can't pay my rent, maybe I can work out of my home and set up a treatment room, and maybe that is a better option for them if they were struggling to pay rent and to pay for electricity and things.
And for some people, it's, you know what, the whole world's gone onto a pause. I'm going to go into a pause as well. Maybe I just need to take a breath. Maybe I don't need to quickly react and make all these rash decisions. Maybe I just need to take a breath too while the world's on hold. And I've worked really hard for, 15 years and I've never had a break. Take the break now.
Yeah, wow, I love this.
Take the break now.
Take the break now.
Soon as we start up again, you're going to be flat out for another 10 years.
I know.
You'll look back and say, why didn't I take a pause then? Why was I so panicked? I should have refueled. I should have restored myself. While everyone else is on the treadmill trying to create all this new content, I took a breath, and then I'm going to come in fresh.
I love this because I took, I came in fresh, because I was saying this, I was listening to one of these big spiritual gurus, and he said, it's the first time globally we've all had an opportunity to stop, to pause, to do nothing, to improve our health, our wellness, spirituality, emotional, physical, to become better human beings. And he said, this is such a great idea. I think we do this every year for 3 weeks globally. We shut everything down. And everyone was like, oh, no, economy, like everything's falling apart. And he said, it's the best thing for humanitarian.
Maybe not everything's falling apart, and this is the thing. Not everything is falling apart, and the things that are falling apart maybe needed to fall apart to reestablish, So I
Well,
think it's about being kind to yourself. It's about creating a really nice routine for yourself. It's about doing some work on yourself to reconnect, go back to the mirror, do your life plan, know what your values are, rather than looking externally for all the answers. Maybe start going internal and just regrounding yourself.
I think it's fantastic because I look at how much content was being produced, and the last time I looked, it was 90 million photos and posts a day on Instagram, something huge amount. And I think, you know what? Everybody's taken enough photos to last a lifetime. So when it came to travel and not being able to travel, some people were panicking, stressed, crying, all kerfussle. And I kind of thought, you know what? We've taken enough photos and posted enough photos to last us the rest of our lifetime. And with that in mind, I was not bothered at all, because the whole obsession of posting every single day, that was putting a lot of pressure on businesses, people, you know, a lot of pressure to do daily content. And then people coming out, you need to do 80 pieces a day to be relevant and to be, you know, and there was so much noise, chaos, content that we couldn't even consume it. So I feel now
the gift is we don't need to do that.
Exactly. No? We don't need to do a post a day.
None of it really matters. None of it really matters.
No, it doesn't.
It's about creating a good, solid community that works for you. We don't need to appeal to the masses all the time.
No.
We don't need to be so global. Maybe the opportunity is to really establish ourselves locally and really mean something.
I love that, because I've got my alarm clock set up. So during COVID-19, every 4:30 p.m, I ring my mum. She's in hospice aged care. And then once a week now, as women with Spaitgirl, we do a weekly kind of catch up just via Instagram Live but it's just very once a week. Okay, that's enough. Done. You know, and it's more manageable because it's more manageable,
and it's not so exhausting. So we've been going through this incredible output the whole time and been on this treadmill of life where we're going really fast, and it's output, faster. We're not built for that. We're not built for that. And it's the gift is we can just slow it down and take a breath and actually think about, do I actually want to get onto that fast treadmill again or not?
I'm not. I'm definitely not.
I never really got on it. I do my own thing. I don't post 25 times a day. I post maybe once a day or maybe once every 2 days. And, you know, I've got my own people who, you know, my coaching practice and my speaking and the people that love my books. I've got 6 books out there. You know, that's all I need. I don't need to be, you know, overdoing things all the time, because when I work for my values are my health, my showing up, being the best version of myself, and my level of achievement every day. And that's it. That's it. It's not how many posts.
No. And what I felt really happy with was that in this whole global financial pandemic and crisis and this and that, I was content. I said, as long as I can sit on the ground, focus inwards on my breath, I've got everything. Because all I needed was my breath, and then to sit on the ground, and I knew everything. It wouldn't matter if I lost this or that. Everything could be stripped away. As long as I probably had a notepad and a pen to journal and my breath and be able to sit and move, I was happy with that. So I was a great opportunity to check in with where am I at with my own health and values. And I wasn't even feeling like if this job title went, stiff shit, too bad, who cares? Like something better will come. Because, you know, as you know, with all of the things you've done, it's when you're 20, you think that might be the only job, but you're going to have probably another 10, 20, 30 opportunities.
And that's the whole point of doing a life plan, is really looking far beyond where you are and giving your brain a much broader perspective than, oh, I'm just here and this is it forever, you know. So I think that's the big message that I want people to hear, is that it's not forever. We've got another 30 years to go to work. It's okay to have a breath. It's okay to have a bump in the road. It's okay not to feel great, because it's going to pass.
But you know what I love, and you must love this opportunity, is connecting as a family is awesome and amazing. And before, we were so busy, too busy. And, you know, I even think my mother should be gripping on for our visit every 2 weeks, or a phone call.
Yeah.
But for her to receive a phone call every single day, same time, same thing, routine, it's amazing where people are feeling more valued, more loved, or connected one-on-one, the connection, instead of being disconnected. Because normally when we're on a mobile phone, we're not, if someone's talking to us, we can be looking at this but not really focused on what they're saying. Now, how can we stay in touch with you? Like, you know, I could talk to you all day and all night. This is why I called it a talk show, because it's very much a talk show, like 2-hour podcast. We'll try and make it under today, but
so Instagram, obviously Shannah Kennedy, SHANNAH, and the website is shannahkennedy.com. Or go and get online and order yourself a copy of the Life Plan. You know, it's a beautiful book on the inside too. It's like beautiful.
I know. I love. Can I say congratulations on your book, or your many books? But this is one of my favorites.
It's a bit special, that one, because there's a lot of photography involved. But it's to warm your heart. It's to guide you through the journey of really building and developing that sense of self. And and I coach people, so people are interested in being coached for a couple of months, you know, you can inquire through the website.
Yeah, well, congratulations on this beautiful book. And that's the real reason I wanted to talk to you today, was to help other people with knowing that they can get through this very difficult COVID-19 time. Regardless of what happens, they can create their own life plan and really identify their true purpose and values, declutter. Like you said, get rid of things that maybe wasn't making you feel good up until now. Maybe now's the time, like you said, to leave that behind, and then just work on what is making you feel good. And this can be from anything, can't it? People, content you consume,
anything, absolutely.
Partners,
yes.
Everything like that. And
toxic friends,
toxic friends. And that's right, because do you know one of the things people struggle with, and before I say goodbye, you might have some more views on this. So there was a notion that everybody get on Instagram and everybody love everybody, and, you know, everybody be kumbaya, you're my sister, you're my brother, we're in the same business, but we love each other. And then reality is everybody was in everybody's business, like sticky beaking and cooking and stalking, and so much so consumed on what she's doing or he's doing, or that they got so lost in worrying about what everyone else was doing. They got themselves in a tiz that they stopped focusing on what they were doing. Do you recommend, I tell people that it's best to focus on what you're doing.
There's a great saying about that. It's like, keep your eyes on your own plate.
I love it.
Just focus on your own plate. Because every time you look at everyone else's plate, you go into judgment, and every time you judge everybody else, you compare, and then your energy drops instantly. So to protect the asset and your energy, we don't want to be judging. We don't want to be looking at everyone else's plate. Just focus on yours, and every day ask yourself, what's the gift for me? What can I focus on today? And just keep yourself nice and grounded in a crisis.
I love this. Nice and grounded in a crisis. This is going to be amazing support to everyone. Like, seriously, I love your work. You are such an incredible woman, so inspirational. Everything you do to help others and transforming their lives, and you have so much passion and so much love. It's incredible. Like, you're just incredibly inspiring. That, I mean, I've got so much admiration for what you do. I've only written one book, It Starts With Me, and having gone through that process, man, oh man. When I see your book, The Life Plan, I think, ooh, she's gone to a lot of effort there. Like,
that's just my creative project, but my passion is coaching.
Yeah, and just like coaching people and transforming their life must like fill your cup up. And you know what, I really loved what you said, after 20 years and more, you love it and you feel like you're just getting started. Like, this is such great advice for people, because like, even for me, just reviewing spas for 10 plus years or visiting for 20, I feel like I haven't even, I feel like I'm only getting started. And people go, what do you mean you're only getting started? I'm like, I'm serious. Like, I'm only like getting, it is hard to explain, isn't it? But you just, that's where you know you're so passionate, isn't it? Because you're not waking up dreading what you're doing. You're just love what you do.
Love it. Yes.
So there we have it. So if anyone needs to find out what their true purpose is, what their values are, and you really want to truly work on your life plan, not for today, but for generations, decades, we're talking 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years plus, then we have the life plan here. We're going to say thank you again.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me. It was really lovely just to share some tools and tips. And
so
please
grateful.
Feel free to contact me if you need anything. All of those listeners. Thank you.
Super grateful. Thank you for spending so much time here on the Spaitgirl Talk Show podcast. I can't wait to hear what you think about today's podcast show. I truly hope that it helps you in these challenging times. I truly hope it inspires you to focus your attention back inwards on your own self and doing what's best for you during these times and moving forward. So on that note, we'll say goodbye. Be sure to subscribe to the Spaitgirl Talk Show podcast, to leave a rating and review, and to tell your beautiful friends and family too. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.